Hello there again and welcome to Blue Garden Cottage. It's a beautiful autumn sunny day out there and it looks like the last one for a little bit. It's going to be raining. I've already caught up with some of the housework, keeping on top of that. But you don't want to hear about that, do you? It's a craft week. So why I am not out there enjoying the sunshine, doing what I can in the garden, is because I'm catching up on some things I was doing with the craft. So I'm sure you'd like to see what on earth I'm talking about. I'll show you what I'm on about. This batch of items we're making seems to be quite a lot more work but simpler, and yet the molds that I showed you last time, I've done what I need to for most of these items. I'll just show you what I've been doing and what I am doing. Okay. So I had been using the Fimo clay, which has come out really nice. As you can tell on the sleighs that it's really quite detailed. It's quite strong. But I was struggling to get hold of it. I could get a couple of other name brands and cheaper ones, but in the end I wanted to go with what I knew worked, which was the Fimo clay, and that hasn't. And of course, money wise, it's very expensive. So I decided to make my own cold porcelain. I've mentioned this to you before. I think I'll put a link to that video somewhere. Either in the description box or in the corner of the video. And I made paper clay, which I didn't like, and I said I was going to make some cold. I followed the recipe and it works perfectly, to this stage when it comes apart just in teardrop like that. It's perfect. So I've been following the recipes and the instructions, and it calls for, this one is a cooked one. You can get a cold one, it's uncooked. But it's not working so well. So I've stuck with a cooked one, and literally the ingredients are corn flour, PVA glue, baby oil, and lemon juice. That is it. Nothing else. So I know what's going into it, and it really feels nice to work with. But being an air dry one, because you don't have to bake it like you do the Fimo clay. That's the one thing, the Fimo, I had to bake at a very low temperature. It doesn't bake for long, but it is using electricity. I mean, okay, fine, the cold porcelain uses electricity to cook it, but it's only the once, whereas with the Fimo clay, you make lots of things, you have to bake it. And I thought an air-dried one, it's an offsetting thing, I think. I wasn't too keen. It feels nice to put into the molds, but it doesn't come out of the molds as easily as the Fimo clay did, even with the talcum powder, because you rub in the talcum powder into all the tiny little nooks and crannies and everywhere. Shake it out a bit, but it's got a talcum powder, and you press in your clay and you peel it out. But the cold porcelain doesn't like to come out the molds immediately, but I have to, because I've got a volume of things to make. So I can't leave it in the molds to dry, and this seems to take about 40 hours to dry properly all the way through. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. So it has come out quite nicely, but I think if you compare the two, you can't really tell very well here, can you? If you compare the two, the detail is much deeper and finer on the Fimo than on the cold porcelain, and the cold porcelain shrinks more when it dries. This batch hasn't cracked. It has slightly distorted and got a slight bend in it, but it's still, it's rubbery enough to be able to press flat when it's stuck to the craft item. So and then there's these little scrolls, as you can see here with these, how obvious, oh excuse me, how obviously the one shrinks quite a lot more than the other, and it's made in exactly the same mold. So it doesn't dry white. It could do if I was to mix in some white acrylic paint, then it would make it more white, but it's slightly opaque. So we'll see how we go. I'm going to finish the batch of molds that I need to. Of course, I've been using the baby oil, just a dollop on the table, so I can keep putting my fingers in and keep the the clay from drying out. You have to, like it or not, that's another thing, like it or not, you have to put it in plastic and very tightly close it up, because it's air dry, and it does start drying and flaking quite easily if you don't keep it wrapped up. So that's the downside, is having to cook it the first stage and keep it in plastic to stop it drying out. I have got tubs, but it's not good enough without the plastic wrap. Do you know, sometimes I absolutely astound myself, and not in a good way. I have just brought all these molds together in a pile, completely forgetting that they're pairs. And now I have to turn them around to make sure that I have pairs again to put them aside where I want them. Oh, what a muppet. That's better, those opposites. Oh my days, what am I doing? Don't know how I'm going to move these out the way, because I need some space so you can see what I am doing. So you can have a little perch on the table and not fall off. Hang on, you can't see a single thing I'm doing because I'm not ready for you yet. Just give me a mo. Just give me a mo. Anyway. Can't complain, and really and truly couldn't be bothered complaining. Life is too short. Sleighs assembled, ready to put the molds onto them. Trusty, non-eco-friendly super glue. There's not much else I can do about that. It's got to be done. Because any other kind of glue would take an absolute age to dry. Anyway, as you can see what I'm doing, I don't need to talk you through it. It's pretty simple and boring. But here's a new development. Right, my grandson, darling that he is, said to me, Grandma, you need Forge of Empires. Do I now? So he downloads Forge of Empires for me onto my tablet. Now, I know absolutely nothing about Forge of Empires. Not a single thing. So how am I supposed to figure out what it is I'm supposed to do? Do what I usually do on everything else. I went on to YouTube. Tried to find some videos. There were a couple, but again, it said it was for beginners. But seriously, these people, they know their topic so well. I don't know how they can think they answer beginners' questions. So as it turns out, I have already started out on a wrong foot, because you're supposed to keep your roads to a minimum, work in a grid. You're not supposed to go for the bigger buildings, except for the ones that are domicile buildings, to get in a better position in your building of your city. Now, me and my ignorance, I thought that Forge of Empires, you're building a city just for fun. And of course I have my own ideas of what I would like to do and how I would like to build a city. My own ideas, but no, there's a way you're supposed to do it with Forge of Empires. And then it requires quite a lot of time as well. I don't have the time to go on there 3 times a day at least to be checking for mail, checking for points, checking for little things that need doing. Seriously, I thought it was just building a city and you could just add and change and... Okay. Not that you're very interested in Forge of Empires or you wouldn't be here watching me doing crafts. You know, but still, the point is, I feel totally out of my depth. Completely out of my depth. So now I want to go and take out some roads, take out a couple of the buildings, rearrange stuff. But you think I could find a video that shows an absolute beginner how to do that? Nope. So I'm just going to have to wait till my grandson is here at the weekend and ask him how I'm supposed to do that. Let's see if he knows. The next best person to ask is my daughter. She's more game savvy, but I don't know that she plays Forge of Empires. I don't know the fascination with games, really. It's a waste of life, in my opinion. But it's fun. I can see that it's fun. But I can also see that it could be very addictive and very quickly take over from doing actual life stuff. I mean, I would rather be doing life stuff. Oh, and this is just 15 of them are having these, 16 of them are having those molds. They were the pretty little scrolly bits. And they're actually, for cold porcelain, is working very nicely on the wood. Oh, it's not even open, you muppet. Seriously, I hate working with super glue, especially when it gets on your skin. Handy hint, you get super glue on your fingers, it's quite easy to get it off. Well, easier to get off by just rubbing oil on your skin. And I also find that it speeds it up when it's dry to use an emery board on it and scrape it. I guess Abby's just walked in and brought me a new little thing he's been working on. I'll show you that in a second when this glue has set. Okay, before I put that one on, let's put that aside a second. Oh, pain. I'm drawing out a rocking horse for Christmas tree decorations. I don't think I've shown you the other rocking horse finished, have I? The other rocking horse we did, I showed you as it was before I decorated it, but I don't remember showing you what it looked like when it was done. Can you bring me the other rocking horse, please, babes, on the window? The little one. Yeah, I did show it to you, didn't I, when I showed you the windowsill tidied? Yep. There we go. Yeah. From that to that. Oh, yeah, babes. As I was saying, hubby just brought this in that he's been working on. I absolutely love it. So this is how we're not communicating very well. Apparently he wants this joined up with the little eyes and hooks in between, so it's a train for a mantle or something. And we'll get some little Christmassy little trees and snowman and presents to go inside there to make it a bit nice, a bit more Christmassy, but he wants to leave it natural so you can see the two different types of wood. I do love it. This is a lovely wood, this is. So it's going to take a little more tidying up because you can't have any imperfections on something that's showing like that, but I think it's gorgeous. I love it. Me, on the other hand, I had in mind that you would put a hook in there, one in each one, where the ribbon, so that it could hang on your Christmas tree in a row around the tree, looking like a train going around the tree. That's what I thought, see. So I'm just going to have to ask him to make another one, obviously not today, so that I could paint it and hang it in the tree the way I was thinking about, instead of just a mantle ornament. Can't wait to do more of those, but I would be doing them as a set of tree decorations. Don't you? Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this little train set. It's just a simple one. I love the simplicity of that one. There you go. Right, back to the sleighs and the bit of putting on these molds. Come on. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. I did tell you about getting it off your fingers. Do not put your fingers in your mouth when the glue is still wet. I have done that a number of times. There we go. You can see that? And then on the back you've got the little cherubs. It's not easy to see it in any direction. The cherub there and there with their wings, the head, and there's this little fan type leafy thing in the middle. It's quite pretty. Got a look at it. I can see it perfectly well here, but you see it better on the polymer clay ones. No focus. Can you see that better? There, that's a bit better. There you go. All stuck on and ready to be painted so that it comes out more like that. Yeah, see, that's what the little cherubs look like on the front when they've been painted. And that's the polymer clay one. There you go. What has made it really much easier to stop it, because with the other ones, the older ones we had a bit of a problem with a wobble. We've sanded it to make it smooth now, but it's not 100% square because we've obviously had to sand it to stop the wobble. But we've discovered that putting the right size block underneath there, lining it up perfectly, and then this also, actually, let me move this out of the way. I did tell you, didn't I, that we were going to make it in one solid piece, because the last time we made an individual piece for that side, the bottom, and the seat. So it was 4 pieces. So it took a lot more glue, a lot more time, and a lot more messing about, and that's contributed to the wobbliness of it, because it just wasn't 100% square. But we found the right size wood already square, and just cut that out on that shape. We just cut that out on the shape, sanded off the flat edges there. So now it's square, and putting it on the block like that next to the pattern pieces. First we put the glue on there, lining it up where I want, so that the block is just in the corner there, and then that is right where it needs to be there. Puts it in the perfect place where it needs to be. So in that side I press and hold. When that is set, then I put the other side on in exactly the same way. They line up and they're not wobbly. And of course these need to be taken apart and taken the double-sided tape off and the glue. So, and that's how we're doing it. And that has really helped. Putting that block underneath has really helped to line things up more accurately and get things in the right place, and it's not wobbly. It's firm, it's not wobbly. So that has been such a big help. Just a simple block that fits perfectly in there at the right height and width. There you go. So that will make life a lot easier. So for this one, I'm putting these scrolly bits on, And they are quite, I mean, I know I've seen the videos on YouTube and they've said it's pretty sturdy and it doesn't break so easily. It's pretty tough, but I don't think so. I think it's still quite delicate. I wouldn't like to chance banging it on the table over there so that the ends line up with the legs. Then I can paint gold lines on the blades, if that's what you call them. What do you call these bits on a sleigh? Are they blades? Are they tracks? Are they runners? What are they? What do you call that bit on a sleigh? I am not sure. Do leave me a comment in the comment section. It'd be nice to figure that one out. I mean, simple, irrelevant things, that finding out what they mean, just, you know, my world is improved by knowing what that's called. Make me look intelligent, thank you very much. Some of the cold porcelain, I don't know if you can tell, taking it out the molds, I don't know if you can tell it in that angle, can sometimes damage the indentations on the pattern compared to that one. That one came out perfectly. This one got a bit damaged taking it out the mold. And I put talcum powder in the mold before putting the clay in, the porcelain, the cold porcelain. Before putting that in, I put talcum powder in the mold, and that's supposed to help it come out more easily. But it didn't work as well with the cold porcelain. It worked perfectly with, do I have any? No, it's the one that was on there. It worked perfectly with the Fimo clay. So, I'll close that before that dries out. Open that. I would love to get some faux fur to trim the edges of here on there and on the seat. I would love to be able to have the time and the patience to make a leather seat, you know, the one like the, what do you call it, but it's got the buttons in with all the, in a grid pattern. My memory's left me, but I'd love to make cushion covers for the bottom and the backrest with like a leatherette type fabric, or a velvet. Oh yes, a velvet. That would be lovely. But then of course it would make these so expensive, both to make and sell. It would look so special. You never know, one day I could go to town on these, really. I mean, not making bulk I wouldn't, because it would take months and months to do them to that level and that quality. But I'd love to do that. It's kind of why I like doing the doll's house, which I haven't actually touched for a week, just because this has become priority to get this lot finished and out of the way. So the doll's house is just waiting a little bit longer to get the attention I'm desperately wanting to give it. Ah! Don't touch the glue. I was close. Now I've got both hands busy and I haven't closed the glue. What am I doing? Quickly close it. Dab it off the tip and get back to holding that in place. Oh my days. This, as you can see, takes absolutely forever. But it's worth it. It's going to look so good when it's done. Yeah. Well, it's time almost for me to quit. It's like gone midday. So I'll need to get this video out to you. Not that it's that interesting this week. I'm just having a natter with you while I'm doing crafts. So I am going to get on with these. Tidy up in a mo. Put everything away. Finish doing a bit of the housework that needs doing, some vacuuming and sorting out dry washing to be put away. Dry laundry. And then I'm going to see if there's still a bit of time, because there's about a couple more hours left before the rain comes again. So I might just get out the front garden, tidy up that wisteria like I said last week I was going to do, and I still haven't had a chance. Oh, finally. Last one anyway. So these are going to be the same in there. There, can you see that? That's what they look like now. And of course, with they have the same decoration on the front. It's very, very toxic. Keep away from your mouth, and definitely away from children. Did you know that there's a shelf life on super glue? I did not. And I love you and leave you with that. Finish up with these. Get in the garden. Get the housework done. Chill today. Might as well get out there and enjoy some of the sunshine. It is cold though. My toes were numb this morning. So, yep, autumn is here. The nights are chilly, and yet today, and then glorious sunshine, and now there's a breeze back out there, but it's beautiful. I love autumn. It's just so changeable, never boring. It's an exciting season. I don't know how that works. I'll stick with the basics until I've learned them. Milk before meat, as they say. While I'm showing you what I'm doing with the crafting. I needed to show you something with the crafting. It's a craft week and there's nothing of any completed face to show you. Every morning I wake up. I was awake at 3 o'clock this morning, by the way. Well, I was out of bed by 3 o'clock. Woke up by 2 o'clock. But out of bed by 3 o'clock and down here working. And the first thing that came to mind is, you know, this time in the morning, if I had my tax number and I could have registered with KDP, I could have been publishing books by now, which is, what's next week? Yeah, Self-Reliance. Talking about that. Okay. Self-Reliance week next week then. That's what we're talking about then. But obviously we'll be doing a bit of everything every week and every day. We do bits of everything. Okay. I've waffled long enough. I shall speak to you again soon. Take care. Have fun. Stay safe. Get crafting with things more difficult to find on the shelves. It helps to use your crafting talents or develop some. Or find somebody else who has them. Okay, folks. Enough waffling. Have a good week. I'll see you next week when we're talking about self-reliance. Take care. Thank you for visiting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell so that when I do post a video, you'll know about it. Do comment as well. Right. Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.